Alright, this is Krovan here with Rias Nia for the first match of the second half. We have Red Overlord versus Goonswarm. Red Overlord has brought 2 Proteus, 2 Legions, a Loki, an Oneros, 2 Thrashers, and 2 Cormorants.
And the Goons have brought, looks like Kronos, Hyperion, Damnation, Thrasher, Catalyst, Coercer, and Coercer. And we are already underway, seeing some movement on the field. Right now, it looks like the Goons are dropping mostly damaged drones. I see fleets of Berserker 2s and Hammerheads crossing the field. Meanwhile, I'm seeing a whole bunch of sensor dampening coming from the Red Overlord team.
Yeah, and that may explain why we're seeing damage spread out amongst quite a few of the Red Overlord ships. One of the Legions, one of the Proteuses, completely out of shields, though it looks like there is a little bit of focused fire coming into one of the Proteuses here as he drops to about 85% armor. Meanwhile, that Hyperion for the Goons down to about 75% armor in this battle of BFFs.
Yeah, I'm trying to see. It doesn't look like the Hyperion's getting any sort of energy transfer or anything from his buddies, so he's pretty much on his own, probably popping cap boosters and local repping as fast as he can.
Yeah, we've lost one of the Red Overlord destroyers. It was the Thrasher, now the second Thrasher also down. Meanwhile, that Proteus taking a hammering. He's already down to about 15% armor, and I'm seeing repair drones on him, but he's not going to hold out. Looks like we've just lost, was it a Cormorant, I think, for the Goons? One of their destroyers is down. Proteus now in structure, the Hyperion's still in armor.
And the Red Overlord team just losing a Proteus. It was a Catalyst that died for the Goons. Both of the Red Overlord Cormorants in low armor. One of them about to drop into structure, down. Big Bass in the last Cormorant still holding up. Lots and lots of DPS from the Goon team. 2 more destroyers, a Cormorant and a Catalyst dropping on both teams. Meanwhile, Headwires is Hyperion in low structure, obviously, hoping his hole will hold out a little bit longer as he puts more damage on Sound God in a Proteus.
Yeah, but he did not hold out, and that Hyperion has gone down, and we're already seeing that second Proteus, Sound God, for Red Overlord he's taking about 25% of his armor now. So to recap, we've got Red Overlord still has the 1 Proteus, 2 Legions, Loki, and an Oneros on the field, while the Goons have 2 Kronos, 1 Hyperion, a Damnation, and 2 Coercers remaining. They did lose another destroyer in the midst of that as well.
And it looks like Thor the Great in his Kronos is just pretty much sitting still, firing blasters. This is a very blaster-heavy setup from the Goons. They're looking to do maximum damage with minimal effort. Heavy neutralizing going on from both of the Kronoses onto the Proteus as Sound God in the Red Overlord Proteus drops to about 30% armor.
Yeah, now that Oneros for Red Overlord also taking some damage. Looks like the Coercers are on him. So he's got his own problems as well as Sound God dips further and further into armor. That Oneros is trying to keep him up, it looks like, but it's just not going to happen. Meanwhile, one of the Coercers now down for the Goons. I don't know if that was drones that got him. The Bob from Marketing in a Hyperion, he's hanging out at about 45% armor right now. Meanwhile, Sound God down below 10% armor, and he could be going down very quickly. Both teams capable of a lot of TPS here.
The real question, though, is going to be whether or not there's enough tank for the Red Overlord team. All 3 of these armor tanking, in fact, all 4 of the remaining Tech 3 ships have huge tanks. Even the Loki can have a 5% armor resist per level. So it's entirely possible that all of them are heavily buffer fit as the remaining Proteus goes down. So we're down to 2 Legions, a Loki, and an Oneros, which is already in half armor for the Red Overlord team. Bob from Marketing and Hargoth both sitting, Bob from Marketing sitting at low armor, dripping into structure, and Hargoth and the remaining Coercer in about 20% structure. Still being effective, though.
Yeah, and like you said, Bob from Marketing is hanging in there. He's got that Loki and one of the Legions orbiting him at very close range, but has only now taken about 15% of his structure damage. Their shield damage spread across the remaining 3 Tech 3 ships for Red Overlord. Meanwhile, that Oneros The damage seems to have stopped. I think Kargoth's Coercer probably booked it out of there once he started taking a lot of damage. Now we have Sparrowhawk's Legion seems to be taking the brunt of the damage now as he's dipped into armor, the only one of the remaining Tech 3 ships to do so. Bob, his structure still barely holding out, and now he is gone. So Goonswarm with just the 2 Kronos, the Damnation, and the Coercer remaining against the 2 Legions, the Loki and the Oneros.
And it looks like Nink in the Red Overlord Oneros is actually holding range at about 70 km outside of the Kronoses, so well out of their blaster range. Interesting, he's become kind of famous for his hot dropping of jump freighters at passes and then letting his dreadnoughts blow up.
Definitely a noteworthy figure in Eve then. Meanwhile, Sparrowhawk's Legion down to about 80%, maybe 75% armor now. The first Kronos for Goons just starting to leak into armor, but not in any kind of real trouble as of yet. What's going to be interesting is to see, and meanwhile, Kargoth has also taken a little bit more damage, and he's down to about 5% structure and gone. So the Goons just have their big ships remaining now. They may not be able to catch that Oneros once it comes time here at the end of the match. But Sparrowhawk is still taking a punishing amount of damage. Looks like he's sat right in front of, looks like Jonathan Xavier's Kronos. He's just sat right in front of him, taking those blasters at point-blank range. Also seeing some smart bombs going off in there. Couldn't tell exactly who from.
It looked like it was from Thor the Great in the Kronos for Goonswarm, who was smart bombing, trying to get some drones off of the Sparrowhawk. I just don't think it's going to be enough. I think they need any damage they can find. Jonathan Xavier and the Kronos already into half armor, Sparrowhawk dipping into structure and for the Red Overlord team, and oh my god, no structure at all on that Legion. He is popped, so we're down to 1 Loki and 1 Legion. And an Oneros for Red Overlord with 2 Kronoses and a Damnation for the Goonswarm. This is still anyone's match.
Oh, definitely. Definitely still anyone's match. The problem at this point may be catching those much more nimble T3 ships compared to these hulking Kronoses here. I'm looking at the remaining Legion. There's no web on him. Let me check out the Loki here and see if they've got him stopped down. Now, there's no web action on either of them. The Loki is in close, so we'll probably see that become the next target. But as of now, no webs on him.
Which is surprising. There they'll go the webs. I was a little surprised because the Kronos does receive a huge web bonus, as do all Marauders, 90% bonus. So the webs are highly, highly effective. And it'd be a little bit shocking, especially to see a blaster boat without any webs, considering that tracking does become an issue for blasters against smaller objects.
We've seen all these armor-tanking ships in that Oneros be largely ineffective, and that is most likely due to when he comes in close, he's getting muted all to hell by these Kronoses, obviously with those utility high slots. But at the moment, he does have some remote repair going, looks like onto that Loki, who is at about 75% armor right now. Meanwhile, Jonathan Xavier has been steadily taking damage from the remaining Red Overlord ships, just about out of armor hit points. Obviously, all of these Goon ships were buffer tanked. So once they go down, it's going to be interesting to see if there's enough DPS to and enough moving to keep the Oneros down and to burn through these buffer tanks.
And you know, this Oneros is actually dropping. He's in low structure, and he's about to pop. I see flames coming out the back, and there he goes. It looks like the drones did off the Oneros, so that could be the moment that the Goons have been looking for. Jonathan Xavier still holding at about 90% structure. Meanwhile, 1 Armor 1 for the Red Overlord team sitting at about 50% armor. This, I mean, I've said it before, this is still anyone's game. I mean, it's a close fight, but there may not be enough damage left for the Red Overlord team to actually kill the last remaining, or the 2 remaining Kronoses.
Yeah, and I'm not entirely sure. I'm taking a look right now. The Loki is moving, albeit barely. He is webbed completely down, and it looks like he might have actually bounced off the front of one of those Megatrons. Jonathan Xavier now, just a bit of structure left, and he is about to drop, and down he goes. Now, the remaining Legion for Red Overlord also flew in during the end of that, and was webbed down once he got close. So if he stays in close, he might make it easy for the Goons here if they're able to drop this Loki and keep webs on this Legion.
And that doesn't look like he is. As I was assuming, as the Loki drops, we're down to the remaining Legion. So well, that does change things because there's only one web on each one of those Cronoses. But together they were able to hold both of the T3 ships at range. But now it doesn't look like he's going to be able to. The last remaining Legion for Red Overlord, Venter, is being heavily neuted by both of the last remaining Goons, Thor the Great in his Kronos, and Populous Lens in the Damnation. It's not going to take a whole lot longer. He's not going to have the DPS on his own to pop that Kronos.
No, absolutely not. That Kronos capable of a very, very large buffer tank. The Legion generally capable of a large buffer tank as well, but here that doesn't look like it may be the case. It is worth noting, you know, both of these teams coming off wins last round. Red Overlord did quite a bit of damage. They may not be done even after losing this round. So these two, it's possible that maybe down the road these two teams will meet again.
Yeah, I mean, I hope so. That Legion is putting out quite a lot of damage, despite the fact that he's being neuted, and it actually looks like he's got heavy assault launchers fit. And he pops the Legion down, Red Overlord. Probably going to still be able to move on with all the points. Goons left with just Thor the Great and his Kronos and a Damnation on the field, and with that, I guess we'll hand it back to Soundwave.